Have you had a home inspection done before?
Never. This is
Okay.
the first house I'm buying.
Congratulations. So the way this works is I went around, took a look at everything, took a bunch of pictures. I'm going to put all of this information into a report that you're going to get later tonight. You're going to get my report and the termite inspector's report. They'll come together in the same email, so you don't have to memorize any of this. I'm not going to go over every little thing. I'm just going to hit the highlights. The stuff that I leave out should be pretty self-explanatory. Problem, picture, big red circle. If you have any questions, our phone number is on every single page of that report, so you call me and I will explain what I'm saying.
Okay.
We always tell people there's no such thing as a perfect house. Every home is going to have a list of issues, even brand new ones. Anything could be fixed and you don't have anything crazy going on. All right? So this is the front of your beautiful new home. Up top, we have a concrete tile roof. Concrete tile roof has 3 layers: plywood, underlayment, tile. The underlayment is the barrier we care about. That's the water barrier, that's the important layer. Usually it's a felt paper that lasts about 30 years. So we should have about a decade left. On top of that,
Okay, that's in your report.
yes, of course. So on top of that, we have these concrete tiles, and those tiles are there to protect that underlayment. These things should last forever. As long as you don't get up there with a hammer and start swinging, these things are pretty awesome. We have a couple of really minor chips and cracks, nothing that actually exposes the felt paper, so nothing we really care about.
Right.
There have been some repairs made. There's some new tiles up there and some spots that have been patched and repaired, so it looks good. I don't really have any complaints. I've got one little spot out just outside the front walk over the garage. You've got a little bitty water stain up in one of the eaves. This could very well be old.
This is you looking straight up.
That's correct. AC unit is a 2014. Typical life expectancy is about 10 to 15 years. It's working. It's not working quite as well as we want it to, but it's close. So the way we test these, we check the temperature of the air where it goes up into the unit, and then the temperature at all the vents where it comes out. We want to see it get about 18 to 22 degrees colder, and it's only getting about 15 degrees colder. So you get that serviced by an AC guy. He'll come out, check the refrigerant levels. That's probably the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the coil needs to be cleaned a little bit to let the air flow a little better, but we should be able to get that up to snuff with no issues. The water heater is a 2011. Typical life expectancy on these is about 10 to 15 years as well. This is a gas water heater, and those do tend to last a little bit longer.
What was the age of the AC system?
It's a 2014.
2014. So that's not very old.
No.
So this one also still has maybe 10 years in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
and
sure.
it's in a pan
That's correct.
with a drain.
Yep.
Good.
So because it's a gas appliance made after 2006, most appliance manufacturers want to see what's called a sediment trap. I'm going to put an example picture in your report so you know what it's supposed to look like. It's just a little piece of pipe that hangs along the gas line. The gas comes in toward that pipe and then tees off toward the burner.
Oh.
And it basically just acts like a filter.
It drops anything that was embedded in the gas.
Exactly. Our gas out here doesn't really need that. We have very dry gas. It's pretty clean. It doesn't need that. Nobody installs them out here. We only point it out because it's usually a manufacturer's requirement. Because this tank is 9 years old, it's probably not under a manufacturer's warranty. I don't know of any that last longer than 7 years. So I wouldn't worry about it. When you get a new water heater, hopefully a long time from now, just make sure they install that little sediment trap so that if something were to go wrong with that new water heater, then it is installed the way the manufacturer wants it installed.
Of
So
course.
nobody ever says, oh, well, that's why it went wrong. We can't fix it. Sorry.
Could that even be an issue for the homeowner's insurance?
No,
Okay,
no,
they would waive that.
no. No, home warranties and homeowners insurance don't pay any attention to stuff like that. The vent pipe on top of the water heater is technically supposed to be screwed together. It's supposed to have 3 screws at every connection. Now this has tape wrapped around it, so I can't see anything, but if you wiggle that, and be careful because it's hot, if you wiggle that, it moves. So it's probably not screwed together. It's probably been like that since 2011, and it'll probably be like that forever. It's just technically supposed to be screwed. We don't get a whole lot of earthquakes, you don't get a whole lot of movement out here, so you don't really have your tank moving and your pipes aren't likely to separate. But if you want, 3 sheet metal screws are really easy to come by and just easy install. The main electrical panels on the back side of the house. Inside that panel, we have 2 neutral wires that are connected to the same lug. neutrals are never supposed to be paired up with anything else. You can put ground wires together, but you can't put neutral wires with other neutrals or with grounds, because in the weird set of circumstances, you can accidentally energize the wrong thing.
Oh, okay.
So
that's code violation.
yeah, and it's really easy to fix. You unscrew this, put this ground wire, loosen this screw, take this, put this ground wire there.
Because
and then
they can go together, and then the white one can go there.
exactly.
I see. Okay, that's easy enough.
This is, basically everything from here on out is really picky. So, the irrigation timer has the electrical wiring coming in here. This box has a hole in the bottom and there's nothing plugging that hole, so you can stick your fingers up there and touch this electrical. Now it'd be hard to get your finger up there, it's not a very big hole, but technically it's supposed to be completely enclosed. That receptacle outlet over there is a little bit loose in the wall. Loose outlets can lead to loose wires if you leave them that way. So just take the cover plate off, and then there's two screws, one at the top and one at the bottom. Just tighten them down a little bit so it doesn't wiggle.
Yeah.
The windows are starting to show their age a little bit. They're very stiff, they're difficult to operate.
Are they 20 years old?
Yeah, I suspect these are all original. And then this one right here, I could not get to open at all. It's just stuck.
So you go back a second. It starts to wiggle.
The windows or the
windows?
receptacles?
The windows.
They're very difficult. They're stiff.
They're tight.
It's hard. They're tight. It's hard to lift them.
Okay, they are supposed to be able to slide up and down easily.
Yes.
And the reason they don't is because the rubber on the sides is getting a little old.
Yeah, definitely. There's some wear. They're just starting to. The sun, obviously, it's very hot outside. There's big temperature changes on either side of the window. And then, especially if they aren't used often, those opening mechanisms just kind of settle into place and they don't want to move.
Yes.
So they're just kind of stiff.
So you've actually tried all of them?
Everything I could get to. There's a couple that I couldn't get to because of furniture, but I got to the vast majority of them.
And they're all in the same category?
Yeah, for the most part. Some of them are easier to operate than others. So some of them smoothly, some of them a little stiff, and this one's just, I couldn't get it open at all.
Is it something that a little bit of talcum powder or so would fix, or is it beyond that?
Possibly. It's going to depend on what kind of shape the springs are in inside the windows. So if those are in decent shape, then you could probably, just lubricate them a little bit. There's lithium grease that can be used. You could do talcum powder. There's a few ways you could do it. I probably wouldn't use WD-40 just because it tends to get
Greasy.
into the rubber.
Mm-hmm.
It is all dual pane, right?
They're all dual pane, yes.
Dual pane often has some gas or
Are they
argon or
low-E?
something.
Yes, they're either filled with an argon gas or they're vacuumed out. I didn't notice any that had failed window seals.
Okay.
If any of them do, that's a cosmetic problem. It's not a real problem. All that happens when the window seals fail is that regular air gets between the two panes of glass and then leaves little dots of moisture.
I know exactly what that looks like because
it's-
in my house is that way.
Yeah, and out here it's so dry, it takes a long time for you to ever notice any moisture buildup.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's cosmetic. It's still a window, it still lets the light in, it still keeps the rain out, it still opens and closes. I mean, some of yours are stiff, but the dual pane window seal failure is just a cosmetic problem. It just makes the windows look less pretty than they used to.
And he looks for that because he's reported it on other properties of my clients. So
that's
they look for that, but
that's
it's
something we look for because it's something that matters to some people. If it's something that matters to you, have a window expert take a look at them. But it's not something that's of any real significance if any of them have actually failed.
Understood.
In the hall bathroom down here, when you pull this tub diverter, it's supposed to send 100% of the water up to the shower head. It's only sending about 99.2% of the water up to the shower head. That might be a deal breaker. You might have to-
Yeah.
The reverse osmosis system has very low pressure, so I'm going to guess that pressure tank probably needs a new bladder.
Do you think that that's a rented unit?
I don't know. You'd have to ask.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'll keep it.
This is the foundation. Like I said, looks fine. I called out one teeny little hairline crack on the stem wall just to be picky. That's normal. It actually looks better than it should, given the age of the home and where we are. We should have a lot more soil movement. So this is good. We do have one of our anchors that's exposed. I would get a little bit of plaster over that just because the weather can get to that and start to rust it. Yeah, it just basically just anchors the walls down to the foundation. It's just it's not
Okay.
your house isn't going
There's a
anywhere.
metal pin that goes.
Yeah,
a strap.
kind of a strap.
A strap.
Mhm.
Oh, this is the metal strap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see it.
Okay, now I see it.
You see, it's just got a little bit of rust. Somebody has painted over it, which is good. That's going to help prevent it from deteriorating. But you can also just smear a little plaster on there, and that'll help.
Yeah.
Out at the grill, you've got the natural gas line that runs out there. We like to see natural gas fittings painted just to prevent them from deteriorating.
Rust-Oleum, a can of Rust-Oleum.
Yeah.
That's what the Rust-Oleum's for, is to keep rust from. So you scrub it, you spray Rust-Oleum on it.
And then it's time to
Mhm.
go. Okay. Right.
And then that's a picture of stuff. Obviously, there's stuff in the house.
Yes.
So I can't see through everything. I can't promise you there's nothing else
Right.
going
Right.
on.
Right. It could be a sinkhole.
Yeah,
under those boxes.
there might be a sinkhole between the couch and the coffee table that I missed because of the rug. But when you get a chance to see the house right before close,
Yes.
should be vacant when you
Yeah.
get an opportunity to see it, and then you'll be able to take a look around and see if there was anything we weren't able to see today. But I don't think there's anything crazy going on here. This place is in really good shape, especially given that it's 20 years old.
Fabulous.
Okay. A couple